Spare me, human. I'll give you fierce offspring, the alien beauty wept beneath chains. The human exploration vessel Artemis floated silently through the cold expanse of space. Stars sparkled like scattered diamonds, and distant nebulae painted the darkness with swirls of color. The crew had been on a routine survey mission, charting sectors near the pulsar named Vera 9. No one expected to find anything unusual, but the universe had a way of surprising those who thought they understood it. Lieutenant Mara Chen, the ship's communications officer, was the first to detect an anomaly. "Commander, you need to see this," she said, her voice tense. On the main console, a drifting ship appeared on the scanner. Its design was unfamiliar, sleek, angular, with a metallic surface that reflected starlight like a broken mirror. It was clearly alien, and its condition suggested it had been adrift for decades. Commander Elias Drake frowned. "Send a boarding party, let's see what we're dealing with." His voice was calm, but inside, curiosity mixed with unease. Alien vessels rarely appeared this close to human-explored space, and most encounters were either dangerous or mysterious, sometimes both. The boarding party, consisting of Elias, Mara, and 2 other officers, suited up and approached the derelict ship in a small shuttle. As they neared the vessel, they noticed faint energy readings, life signs, but only one that was strong enough to register. It pulsed weakly, almost like a heartbeat struggling to stay alive. Inside the ship, the corridors were dark and silent. Panels flickered, showing signs of long neglect. Dust floated in the air, disturbed by the humans' careful steps. Then they found it. A chamber filled with stasis pods. Within them were creatures of many shapes and sizes, clearly not human. Most were unconscious, but one pod held a being whose eyes were open, and her gaze pierced through the glass like fire. She was beautiful, in a way humans had never seen. Her skin shimmered faintly in colors the eye could barely name. Her hair flowed like liquid metal, and her eyes glowed with a soft, golden light. Despite her beauty, she was chained inside the pod, restrained by alien bindings that dug into her delicate frame. She raised a hand toward them, and her voice, though quiet, carried desperation. "Please, spare me," she said. Her accent was strange, each syllable precise yet foreign. "I can help you. I can give you something your kind has never had, but you must free me." Elias stepped back, studying her carefully. "Why should we trust you? You could be leading us into a trap." She shook her head, her chains rattling. "I am not your enemy. My people, they were captured by a great empire. They use my kind to create weapons, to breed soldiers. I am the last of my line. But I can give you power, knowledge, a legacy that will make humans stronger than you. Imagine." Mara glanced at Elias, her brow furrowed. "Commander, she doesn't seem like a threat, but something about this feels urgent. Maybe we should listen." Elias nodded slowly, weighing the decision. "We can't release her fully yet, but we need to understand what she's offering. Start a secure link. Keep her restrained, but let's hear what she has to say." The alien's chains seemed to relax slightly, as if she could sense a small measure of trust. "You humans are different," she said. "Other species rely on force, on domination. You survive because you adapt, because you think beyond instinct. That is why I chose to speak to you. If you help me, I will give you something fierce, something that will change your future." A low alarm suddenly echoed through the ship. Sensors picked up another energy signature, distant, fast-moving, and hostile. "Commander," Mara said, her voice rising. "There's something approaching. It's massive, faster than anything we've seen." The alien woman's eyes widened. "They are coming. My captors. If you do not act quickly, you will be caught in the war you do not yet understand." Elias gripped the railing, staring at the scanner. The enemy ship grew larger with every passing second, its outline stark against the distant stars. "We need a plan," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. She leaned slightly forward, her voice urgent. "I can show you how to fight them, how to survive. But only if you free me from these chains. I cannot guide you if I am restrained." For the first time, Elias saw more than desperation in her eyes. He saw hope, determination, and a strange kind of honesty. Something about her presence stirred a feeling deep in him, that humanity, fragile as it seemed, might be on the edge of discovering its true potential. He turned to Mara. Prepare a temporary release. Keep restraints on her wrists and ankles, but give her the freedom to move and act. If this is a trap, we'll know quickly enough. The alien's face softened. Thank you, she whispered, a glimmer of relief in her golden eyes. You will not regret this. Together, we can survive what comes next. As they worked to unchain her, the human crew could feel the weight of the unknown pressing around them. Outside, the enemy ship closed in, a reminder that choices had consequences, and that in the vastness of space, mercy and courage often walked hand in hand. Elias Drake took a deep breath, gripping the railing once more. He did not yet know if they were making the right choice, but for the first time in his career, he felt the thrill of true possibility. The chance that humans, small and fragile in a universe of giants, might become something extraordinary. And, in the dim light of the derelict vessel, the alien beauty wept, not from pain, but from the hope that someone at last had seen her worth. The alien woman, once chained and silent, now moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. Her eyes glimmered with intelligence and something deeper, an urgent desire to save both herself and the humans who had freed her. The temporary restraints on her wrists and ankles allowed her enough movement to show the crew that she was capable, but not dangerous, at least not intentionally. Commander Elias Drake watched her closely as she took a cautious step forward. You said your people are being used as weapons, he said, his voice steady. Explain. We need details if we're going to risk helping you. The woman's golden eyes softened. My people were bred to be strong, fearless, and obedient. We were warriors by design, but we were also intelligent and capable of thinking far beyond instinct. That made us valuable not for knowledge or culture, but for combat and control. She paused, letting the words settle in. A powerful empire captured my kind centuries ago. They enslaved us, using our strength and biology to create armies. They keep us in chains until we produce something they can use to dominate others. Lieutenant Mara Chen frowned. They use your people to breed soldiers? She asked. That's terrible. How is that relevant to us? The alien's lips curved in a faint, sad smile. Because the Empire does not know humans. You are different. Your species adapts, learns, survives in ways others cannot. You do not rely solely on strength, you rely on ingenuity. That is why I seek your help. If you save me, I can share knowledge and strategies that will make humans a power even this empire cannot ignore. Elias rubbed his chin thoughtfully. You speak of power and offspring, he said. Are you talking about children? Or something else? She shook her head. Not children in the way you think. I can teach your species to combine strength, discipline, and strategy in ways no other being has. I can train humans to become fierce warriors, thinkers, and leaders. That is the offspring I offer, the offspring of ideas, of skill, of resilience. A new generation of humans who are stronger because they embrace what makes them unique. Mara exchanged a glance with Elias. It's a gamble. She could be lying. True, Elias replied. But consider this. If she is telling the truth, humanity gains something more than survival. We gain the ability to stand against forces far greater than ourselves. The alien woman's expression softened further. I do not lie. You freed me, even when you did not know me. You have seen the value of mercy and courage. That is why I trust you. Suddenly, the ship trembled. Sensors blared as a distant signal approached, one far too fast and powerful to be natural. They are coming, she whispered, her voice trembling with urgency. The Empire's warship is closing in. You will have little time to prepare. If I am restrained, you cannot survive. Elias stepped toward her, decision hardening in his mind. We have little choice. Mara, reinforce the temporary restraints, but prepare to let her act freely if needed. This might be our only chance. The alien nodded, a mix of relief and determination crossing her features. Thank you. You must listen carefully. Their strategy is brutal but predictable. They believe in overwhelming force and fear. They will attack with everything they have first, hoping to crush morale. But their arrogance is their weakness. They underestimate humans, and they underestimate what I can teach you. She moved closer to the tactical console, pointing at the approaching enemy. We need to strike carefully. Your weapons alone are weak against them. You must use cunning, misdirection, and timing. Humans can adapt on the fly in ways the Empire's soldiers cannot. That is your advantage. Mara leaned closer, trying to absorb every word. Teach us then. Show us what we need to do. The tanned, alien woman's eyes brightened with the faintest trace of a smile. I will, but first you must understand my people's history. We were never merely tools of war. We were taught to value courage, wisdom, and loyalty above all. Those lessons, combined with your adaptability, can turn the tide. I can pass these lessons on to your crew, your scientists, your soldiers. You will not just survive, you will thrive. Elias felt a spark of hope he hadn't felt in years. Here was a being from beyond the stars, offering humans a chance to rise above what they had always believed were their limits. He also felt the weight of responsibility. The crew had already trusted her, and now their survival depended on a careful balance of faith and action. Mara glanced at Elias, her eyes wide. Do you think she's telling the truth? Elias looked at the alien woman, her golden eyes shimmering with sincerity. I do not know for certain, he said, but sometimes the right choice is not the safe one. If she can help us survive, we cannot waste this chance. The alien's chains clinked softly as she shifted, a subtle reminder of the past she had endured. I will not fail you, she said softly, more to herself than to anyone else. Not this time. Together we will show them the strength of a species they thought weak, a species they could never control. Outside, the enemy ship closed the distance, its shadow looming over the derelict vessel. Within the chamber, humans and alien prepared for what was to come, bound together not by chains but by the shared hope that mercy, courage, and trust could create something new and something stronger than either had ever known. The derelict ship trembled under the distant thrums of the approaching enemy vessel. Every creak of the hull and flicker of the lights reminded the crew that time was short. Commander Elias Drake paced along the corridor, his mind racing. The alien woman, now free from most of her restraints, moved with calm precision as though she already knew what needed to be done. Yet, despite her assurances, the tension among the humans was palpable. Lieutenant Mara Chen crossed her arms, glancing at the alien with suspicion. How can we be sure she's not leading us into a trap? She asked, her voice quiet but firm. She may claim to help us, but this could be exactly what the Empire wants. Elias stopped and studied her. I know your concerns, Mara, but consider her eyes, her voice, the way she spoke about her people. There's truth in her fear and determination. She isn't asking for our trust lightly. The alien woman, sensing the uncertainty, raised her hands gently. I understand your doubt. If I were in your place, I would think the same. You have every right to be cautious. But if we do not act together, we will all die. My captors will show no mercy, and they are skilled at hunting their prey. Mara sighed, her fingers brushing against the console. We've faced danger before, but nothing like this. She claims to know their weaknesses. But what if it's a lie? The woman's gaze softened, her golden eyes reflecting light from the control panels. I am not lying. The Empire is confident, arrogant, and cruel. They believe no being can outthink them. Humans are rare. You survive because of your unpredictability. That is the advantage I bring. But I cannot fight their strategy alone. You must act with me. Elias nodded. Then we prepare. Mara, start organizing the crew. Every station, every weapon, every system. Ready them for action. She will guide us, but our survival depends on execution. The alien woman moved toward the tactical console, her movements deliberate, precise. First, understand this, she said. Their strength is in overwhelming numbers and fear. They expect immediate obedience from anyone in their path. They have never faced humans who act with creativity under pressure. That is what we will use. Mara leaned closer, intrigued despite her skepticism. Explain exactly what we need to do. She pointed at a schematic of the enemy ship, projected from the alien vessel's controls. Their shields are strong in direct assaults, but vulnerable at the joints where energy conduits meet. If your weapons target those points, even your smaller cannons can cause disruption. But timing is everything. If you attack too early, they will adapt. If you attack too late, we are lost. Elias exchanged a glance with Mara. And what about the crew? He asked. How do we coordinate under fire? The alien smiled faintly. Humans excel under pressure. That is why I chose you. Each of you will have roles that match your strengths. I will guide the strategy, but the humans will execute it. Your flexibility will be our greatest weapon. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the vessel. Sensors flashed a warning. They're close, Mara said, her voice tight. Too close for comfort. The alien woman's expression hardened. Then we must act now. I can teach you formations, signals, even techniques that my people use in war. But hesitation will cost lives. Do you trust yourselves enough to follow orders you do not fully understand? Elias straightened, his resolve firming. We will follow. We have to. We either act together now or perish individually. The alien nodded. Good. Remember this. Fear is a weapon the Empire wields. Do not let it control you. Confidence, creativity, and courage. These are human traits they cannot predict. Use them. Mara swallowed, her nerves tight but determination rising. I'll brief the crew, she said. We follow your guidance. The alien woman's chains clinked faintly as she moved, a quiet reminder of her past captivity. Every lesson, every strategy I teach, is drawn from survival and adaptation. My people have endured countless battles, but humans can do something even we could not. Think beyond instinct. That is why we may succeed. Elias turned to the crew. Everyone, listen carefully. She will guide us. Our survival depends on trusting her insight and acting quickly. We may not fully understand her methods, but that is our advantage. Unpredictability. Remember, the moment we hesitate is the moment we lose. The alien glanced at Elias, her expression a mixture of pride and concern. I once wept beneath chains, believing hope was lost, but now with you, we have a chance to rewrite the outcome. Do not waste it. Outside, the enemy ship appeared, as a shadow against the stars. Its engines flared, and the vast size of its hull dwarfed the derelict vessel. The humans could feel the heat of its approach, though the vacuum of space separated them. Yet the threat was undeniable. The Empire's forces would strike with all their power. Mara gripped the railing, trying to steady her nerves. She looked at the alien, who now stood with quiet confidence, her chains rattling softly. For the first time, she realized that humanity was not alone in the universe. There were beings who understood the value of courage, intellect, and adaptation, and who were willing to stand beside them. Elias inhaled deeply. Prepare for the first move. Trust your instincts, trust her guidance, trust yourselves. The alien woman nodded, her golden eyes glowing with a mix of urgency and hope. The Empire thinks us weak, divided, and predictable. Let us show them how wrong they are. Humanity is stronger than they imagine, and together, we can survive anything. The derelict ship trembled again as the first signals of battle reached them. Within its dark corridors, humans and alien prepared not just for survival, but for a chance to prove that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most formidable enemy. The alarms blared through the derelict ship, a harsh reminder that time had run out. Outside, the enemy warship loomed like a mountain against the glittering stars, its engines glowing with immense power. Sensors indicated dozens of smaller attack craft swarming around it, forming a deadly formation designed to overwhelm anything that dared approach. Commander Elias Drake felt a cold weight in his chest. There was no turning back now. The alien woman stood at the tactical console, her golden eyes scanning the approaching threat. Her chains clinked softly as she moved, but she appeared entirely calm. "They will strike with full force," she said, her voice steady. "The first wave is meant to intimidate. They want you to panic. Remember my lessons: confidence, creativity, adaptability. Humans survive because they think, not because they rely on brute strength alone." Lieutenant Mara Chen tightened her grip on the railing. "We can't outgun them," she said. "Even with her guidance, we don't have the firepower to take on a fleet like that." Elias nodded. "Then we outsmart them. Mara, coordinate all crew members, every station, every turret, every system. Follow her instructions. If we act together, we might just survive." The alien woman turned to the human crew, her expression intense. "The Empire believes in overwhelming force. They expect submission. But humans do not submit easily. Use the enemy's expectations against them. They will strike predictable patterns, and you must be unpredictable. Move, fire, reposition. Do not allow them to dictate the fight." The first wave of enemy crafts arrived, sleek and merciless. They fired in coordinated bursts, testing the derelict ship's shields and defenses. Sparks flew across the hull as the ship rocked violently, throwing some crew members off balance. Despite the chaos, Elias maintained control, issuing orders with precision. The alien woman called out tactical adjustments, guiding them through the swarm. "Target the conduits, not the hull," she shouted. "Wait for the openings between their shields. Aim with precision, not volume." The crew followed her instructions, firing carefully at the weak points she had identified. One enemy craft exploded in a brilliant flash, its pieces scattering into the void. Another followed moments later. The humans began to see the truth in her words. Strategy and intelligence could overcome raw power. Mara moved quickly between stations, coordinating fire and monitoring shields. "It's working," she yelled. "We're actually holding them off." The alien woman nodded, a hint of relief crossing her features. "Do not celebrate yet. The Empire will not falter, with only a few losses. The main attack is coming, and they will be relentless. Remember your training, trust your instincts, and adapt." Suddenly, the derelict ship shook violently as a massive energy beam struck the hull. Lights flickered, alarms screamed, and some panels sparked. The crew struggled to maintain control, but the alien woman moved with calm authority, directing damage control teams and adjusting shields. "They focus on fear," she said quietly, almost to herself. "Do not let it reach you. Control your fear, control your actions. That is the way humans endure where others fail." Elias glanced at her, admiration mingling with concern. "You've seen war before," he said. "You know what's coming, and you're still willing to help us?" She met his gaze steadily. "I have been chained and used, yes. But now, I see hope. Humans are unpredictable, resourceful, and brave. I trust you because I believe you can rise to the challenge. That is why I fight with you, not against you." The enemy fleet pressed closer, and another wave of crafts approached from an unexpected angle. Mara yelled orders, firing defensive turrets in a sweeping arc. The alien woman shouted instructions, guiding each maneuver with precision. Piece by piece, the humans began turning the battle in their favor. Every tactic the alien suggested exploited weaknesses the Empire had never expected. One of the smaller attack ships broke formation and collided with another, creating chaos in the enemy ranks. "See?" the alien said, her voice calm but firm. "Chaos can be an ally. Humans thrive in adapting to it. Remember this. Your unpredictability is a weapon they cannot anticipate." Elias felt a surge of pride. The humans, guided by alien strategy, were not just surviving. They were fighting with intelligence and courage. They moved as one, blending human ingenuity with the wisdom of a species far older and wiser than themselves. The enemy seemed to falter, unable to anticipate the humans' unpredictable maneuvers. One by one, their crafts were disabled or forced to retreat. Outside, the vast emptiness of space reflected the flashes of explosions and the shimmering debris of destroyed ships. The alien woman's chains rattled softly as she watched the retreating enemy. She finally allowed herself a deep breath, her eyes glimmering with relief and something else. Pride. "You see now," she said quietly. "Humans can endure what others cannot. You survive not because you are strongest, but because you think, adapt, and fight with heart." Mara turned to Elias, a wide smile breaking across her face despite exhaustion. "We did it. We actually held them off." Elias nodded, his eyes scanning the stars for any signs of remaining threat. "Thanks to her guidance, and your courage, Mara. Humanity just proved something important today. We can face forces far stronger than ourselves and survive, as long as we trust our minds and our instincts." The alien woman stepped back from the console, her chains glinting faintly in the dim light. She no longer seemed like a captive, but a partner, a being whose wisdom, courage, and trust had helped humans stand against impossible odds. For the first time she smiled, not with fear or desperation, but with hope. In the quiet moments after the battle, as the enemy fleet disappeared into the darkness, the crew realized something profound. Humanity had faced overwhelming power and survived. They had been guided by an alien stranger and in doing so, had glimpsed the vast potential that lay within themselves. And in the eyes of the alien woman, they saw reflected a truth they had never known. Humans were capable of greatness, fierce in ways no other species had yet imagined. The derelict ship floated in the aftermath of the battle, its hull scarred but its crew alive. Outside, the stars seemed calm again, yet tension lingered in every corner of the vessel. Commander Elias Drake moved through the corridors, checking on the crew and assessing damage. The alien woman followed, her golden eyes watching with quiet intensity. Though she had guided them through the fight, the danger was far from over. Lieutenant Mara Chen approached Elias, wiping sweat from her brow. "Commander, we held them off, but their main fleet is still out there. They'll regroup and strike again. How do we prepare?" Elias nodded, his jaw tight. "We've bought time, that's all. But we need a plan beyond defense. We need to go on the offensive, and we need her guidance to do it." The alien woman stepped forward, chains clinking softly, but her stance exuded authority. The Empire expects fear and submission. They believe humans are weak, easily broken. That is their mistake. They do not anticipate ingenuity or courage, combined with discipline. You have survived because of your adaptability. Now it's time to use that to change the outcome. Mara frowned. "You mean attack them? We're outnumbered." "Yes," she said firmly. "But we are not unprepared. I have studied their tactics. They rely on overwhelming power and predictable formations. If we disrupt their command, if we strike at key points, their fleet will fall into chaos. Your unpredictability, coupled with my guidance, will give you an edge." Elias exchanged a look with Mara, then nodded. "All right. Assemble the crew. We move on your orders." The alien woman led them to the tactical console. She projected a holographic map of the sector. The enemy fleet was moving methodically, confident in their strength. "They believe they are invincible," she said. "That confidence will be their undoing. Observe their formation carefully. Notice the supply ships in the rear. They are lightly guarded but crucial to their operations. If we target them first, we force the fleet to divert resources, creating openings for our smaller strikes." Mara studied the projection. "So we hit them where they're weakest, not strongest." "Exactly," the alien confirmed. "Use speed, misdirection, and coordination. Human adaptability allows you to improvise in ways they cannot. They will underestimate you, and that will be the key to victory." The crew moved into action, trusting her instructions. Engineers recalibrated the ship's weapons. Scientists prepared energy pulses to exploit structural weaknesses, and soldiers reviewed the aliens' suggested tactics. Everyone was tense but determined. For the first time, humans were not merely reacting. They were planning, adapting, and preparing to strike intelligently. As the enemy fleet returned, the alien woman guided each move with precision. "Divide your fire," she instructed. "Some focus on the lightly defended supply, Ships others on creating diversions. Do not hesitate, timing is crucial. Trust yourselves as much as you trust me. The derelict ship surged forward, small and nimble against the massive enemy formation. Mara's hands flew over the controls, coordinating strikes and maneuvers. The alien directed every move with calm authority, anticipating enemy reactions, and pointing out opportunities the humans could exploit. Their strategy unfolded with surprising success. The first supply ships were destroyed, sending ripples of confusion through the enemy fleet. Smaller attack crafts scrambled to respond, leaving gaps in their formations. Humans exploited these gaps, striking quickly and precisely, just as the alien had instructed. Elias watched in awe as his crew executed maneuvers that would have seemed impossible hours before. The alien woman's guidance transformed their fear into focused determination. Every shot, every move, every decision was calculated, adaptive, and daring. The humans were no longer simply surviving. They were dominating the battlefield in ways the Empire had never anticipated. Mara glanced at the alien, her expression a mixture of relief and admiration. I can't believe this is happening. We're actually breaking their lines. The alien nodded, her golden eyes shining. You see the potential within yourselves. Humans endure, adapt, and prevail. That is why I offered you my guidance. You have the courage to survive, and the intelligence to overcome. Together we are stronger than they imagined. The enemy fleet, thrown into chaos, began to retreat in disorder. Communication signals became fragmented, and command structures collapsed. The humans had turned the tide, not through sheer strength but through ingenuity, adaptability, and unity guided by the alien's wisdom. Elias exhaled, feeling the weight of relief and pride. This proves something important, he said. Humans can survive even against overwhelming odds if we combine courage with intelligence and trust each other. The alien woman's chains rattled softly as she surveyed the aftermath. You have survived the impossible, she said quietly, and you have shown that humanity can rise beyond expectation. My people have long sought a chance to witness courage in its truest form, and now I see it in you. Mara smiled, exhausted but exhilarated. We did it, and we're still standing. Elias placed a hand on the alien's shoulder. We couldn't have done this without you. You've shown us that strength comes in many forms, and humans have more than enough to match even the mightiest empire. The alien nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. Remember this lesson. Power alone is not enough. Wisdom, adaptability, and courage define true strength. You humans have them all, and now you know it for yourselves. Outside, the stars seemed calmer, though the threat of the Empire still lingered in the distance. Inside, the humans felt something profound. They had survived not by chance, but by embracing what made them unique. They had fought not just for their lives, but for proof that humanity, clever and resilient, could stand against anything the galaxy threw at them. And in the golden eyes of the alien woman, they saw reflected the truth of their own potential. Humans were not weak. They were capable of greatness, fierce in ways no other species could yet imagine, and ready to face whatever the future held. The battle had ended, but the derelict ship's crew felt no time for celebration. The enemy fleet had been forced to retreat, but they would return, stronger and more determined. Commander Elias Drake knew they could not rely on luck again. The alien woman, whose chains now hung loosely at her sides, stepped forward. Her golden eyes held a calm intensity, and there was a purpose in her movements that commanded respect. You have survived your first test, she said softly, her voice steady. But survival alone will not ensure victory. You must grow stronger, faster and smarter. That is the true meaning of the offspring I promised you. Mara Chen frowned slightly, confused. Offspring? You mean actual children? The alien shook her head, a faint smile on her lips. No. I speak of something different. Strength is not always in flesh. The offspring I offer is knowledge, skill, and discipline passed from my people to yours. You will learn strategies, techniques, and ways of thinking that transform humans into warriors, thinkers, and leaders far beyond their current limits. That is your fierce offspring. Elias studied her carefully. And you will teach us, even though we are not of your species? Yes, she said firmly. I have watched humanity. You adapt, improvise, and survive in ways my kind cannot. That is why I chose you. I will pass on what I can, and you will become something the Empire cannot predict. Humans train not only in weapons but in strategy, resilience, and unity. The crew began training immediately. The alien woman taught them formations and tactics from her people's warrior history. Every movement, every maneuver was precise, yet adapted to human strengths. She emphasized observation, timing, and improvisation. Humans learned not only to fight, but to think under pressure, anticipate enemy strategies, and make decisions that could turn the tide of any battle. Mara, a talented strategist, absorbed every lesson with fierce determination. She practiced tirelessly with other crew members, refining techniques and testing ideas. This is incredible, she whispered to herself one evening. We're learning to think like warriors, but also like leaders. This is more than survival, it's transformation. The alien woman watched the humans closely, correcting mistakes and praising successes. Humans excel not because you are strongest, but because you adapt. You see possibilities that others do not. That is the advantage I offer. You are already my offspring in spirit, fierce and capable. Elias, too, embraced the training, often staying late in the tactical room to learn advanced maneuvers and coordination strategies. He realized that the aliens' guidance was more than practical. It was shaping the humans into a force capable of challenging the Empire itself. The knowledge she shared blended with human ingenuity, creating new methods and strategies no one else could predict. Days turned into weeks and the crew became stronger. They moved with precision and confidence, anticipating each other's actions as if they were a single organism. The alien's teachings went beyond combat. She instilled discipline, focus, and the importance of trust, not only in her guidance, but in each other. Elias observed the transformation and felt a surge of pride. We've become more than a crew, he said. We're becoming a force to be reckoned with. Humans are learning fast, faster than I imagined possible. Mara nodded, adjusting her stance as she practiced a formation with several crew members. It's true. The alien was right. Our adaptability is our strength. With her guidance, we're no longer just surviving. We're growing into something extraordinary. The alien woman smiled faintly. The Empire believes humans are weak. They do not understand your spirit, your courage, your capacity to learn and adapt. You are the offspring I promised. Fierce, disciplined, and intelligent, and the galaxy will soon see it. Outside the ship, the stars stretched endlessly, calm for now. But inside, a transformation was taking place. Humans who had once relied on raw instinct were now learning to combine courage with strategy, intuition with training. They were becoming something more: warriors, thinkers, and leaders who could stand against any challenge. Elias approached the alien, his expression thoughtful. You said this is only the beginning. How do we continue to grow? By trusting yourselves, she said softly. By embracing what makes you human, your creativity, your adaptability, your courage. I can teach you techniques, but true strength comes from your hearts and minds. Combine them, and you will become unstoppable. Mara glanced at the alien, and then at her fellow crew members. We're ready, she said confidently. We're no longer just survivors. We're the fierce offspring she promised, and we will prove it. The alien woman's eyes glimmered with pride. Yes, you will. And when the Empire returns, it will face not a fragile species, but one that has learned to endure, to fight, and to rise above any challenge. Humanity's potential is limitless, and now it begins to show. The ship hummed with renewed energy, a symbol of growth and hope. Humans trained and learned together, no longer afraid of the vast dangers of space. They had been tested, guided, and transformed. And in the quiet moments that followed, every crew member understood the truth. Their strength was no longer measured by survival alone, but by the courage to grow, adapt, and rise above. And for the alien woman, the chains that had once bound her were now a reminder not of captivity, but of the beginning of something extraordinary. She had given humanity the gift of fierce offspring, and they were ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them, together. The galaxy was quiet, but the calm was deceptive. Commander Elias Drake stood on the bridge of the derelict ship looking out at the stars. The enemy fleet had retreated, but their shadow lingered in the minds of every crew member. What remained, however, was something more powerful than fear, the transformation of humanity into a force capable of standing against overwhelming odds. The alien woman moved beside him, her golden eyes reflecting the distant starlight. She no longer seemed fragile or captive. She was a teacher, a guide, and a witness to the rise of humans. "You have come far," she said softly. "From the moment I was freed, you have shown courage, intelligence, and determination. You are no longer the species they underestimated. You are something new." Mara Chen stepped forward, a confident smile on her face. "We trained, we fought, we adapted, and now we can do more than survive. We can thrive. The Empire will not know what hit them if they return." The alien woman nodded. "That is the lesson I wanted you to learn. Strength is not only in power or weapons, it is in adaptability, unity, and the courage to act when others hesitate. You have become my fierce offspring, not through birth, but through growth, learning, and determination." Elias took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their accomplishments. The humans on the ship had been tested, guided, and transformed. They had fought against overwhelming forces and learned to trust each other, their instincts and the aliens' wisdom. Each crew member now carried something extraordinary, the knowledge that humanity could rise beyond limitations, that fear and uncertainty could be conquered through intellect and courage. The alien woman moved through the bridge, speaking quietly, with crew members encouraging them, teaching them new tactics and strategies. Every human who interacted with her felt a spark of confidence, a sense that their potential was greater than they had ever imagined. "Look around you," she said softly to Elias. "These humans are more than a crew. They are thinkers, warriors, and leaders. They carry the strength of humanity within them, combined with what I have taught. They are ready for anything the galaxy might throw at them." Elias nodded, looking at the crew who were working together seamlessly, communicating, without hesitation, anticipating each other's moves. "I never imagined we could grow so quickly, and yet here we are, stronger, smarter, united." The alien smiled faintly. "That is the way of true strength. It comes from within, but it is shaped by guidance, learning, and experience. Humanity has always had potential, but now you have seen it for yourselves. You are not just survivors. You are creators, leaders, and warriors, and your influence will spread." Mara glanced out the viewport, watching the distant stars. "The Empire thinks they can control or destroy us, but they do not understand what humans are capable of. We learn, we adapt, we endure, and we fight with a purpose beyond mere survival." The alien woman's chains, now loose and symbolic, rather than restrictive, clinked softly as she moved. "I once wept beneath these chains, believing hope was lost. But you have shown me that even the smallest spark can ignite a fire. Humans are that fire. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and unity can overcome even the most powerful forces." Elias stepped closer to her, his expression a mix of respect and gratitude. "You've given us more than guidance. You've shown us what humanity can be when we embrace our strengths and rise together. This is more than a battle won. It's a future reclaimed." The alien woman's golden eyes glimmered. "And the future is only beginning. Humans have learned to survive and to grow, but now it is time to lead. You will carry this knowledge, this courage into the galaxy. You will inspire others, defend those who cannot defend themselves, and prove that humanity is not to be underestimated." The crew, inspired and trained, gathered quietly around the bridge. They felt a sense of accomplishment, of transformation. No longer were they simply explorers or survivors. They were something more, Humans, tempered by challenge, united by trust, guided by wisdom, and strengthened by experience. Elias turned to the alien woman. Your promise was true. You said you would give us fierce offspring, and you have, not through blood, but through courage, knowledge, and growth. Humanity is stronger because of you, and because we dared to rise to the challenge. The alien woman's eyes softened and a rare smile touched her lips. And now, humanity will rise. The Empire and others will see that humans endure, adapt, and prevail. You are no longer merely another species in the galaxy. You are a force to be reckoned with. You are fierce offspring, and this is only the beginning. Outside the ship, the stars stretched infinitely, silent witnesses to the transformation that had taken place. Inside, humans moved with confidence, ready for whatever challenges awaited them. The alien woman watched them, no longer a prisoner, but a mentor and a witness to the rise of a species capable of greatness beyond measure. And in that quiet, luminous moment, the humans realized something profound. They were no longer defined by fear, weakness, or the limits of survival. They had discovered their potential, embraced their strengths, and risen as a species unlike any other. The galaxy would remember the day humanity became more than observers. It became a force guided by courage, ingenuity, and the promise of something fierce. The alien woman wept quietly, but now her tears were of hope and pride. She had been freed from chains, and humanity had been freed from doubt. Together they had forged a new path, one where humans could face the stars and all its dangers, and not just survive, but thrive. The journey was far from over, but one truth had become undeniable. Humanity had awakened fierce and unstoppable, and the galaxy would never be the same again.